There's our show for 19.
For sell by owner pros and cons.
Oh,
it depends on who the buyer is, Joe.
Yeah. Are you talking about buying a for sale by owner, Joe? Or are you talking about selling something for sale by owner? Because those are two different things.
Let's take that he's selling something for sale by owner. There's mandatory disclosures by statute that have to be done. You've got to know what to disclose. You got to disclose everything. And then
here, we'll put this up here so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah. And it's almost like seller beware. There's a lot of things your realtor does in the background that make sure that the transaction will go through and that your net is maximized. So buying a for sale by owner, if you are a seasoned home purchaser and you know what you're doing,
he's talking about buying.
I know. I said
there.
A home purchaser. I said, if you're a seasoned home purchaser and you know what you're doing, you get your inspections, you pay for your inspections, you know how to negotiate. You have a good lender, you should be okay. Yeah. The only thing you don't know is you don't know if the seller's disclosing you everything, because there's no other realtor in the party or in the pool advising and telling the seller what he needs to disclose.
Right. Now, what you could do is get a buyer's agent and have that buyer's agent represent you towards the seller and see if the seller will pay for the buyer's agent. Because 9 times out of 10, the reason they're for sale by owner, they think listing it is not that big of a deal, but they usually will pay the buyer's side. But here's the issue is, who's going to make sure the contracts are signed right? Who's going to make sure all this to disclose properly and you protect it? Who's going to order all the inspections? Who's going to check everything out?
Who's going to open escrow with the title and escrow company? And remember, title and escrow is a neutral third party. They're not there to advise. They're not there to make sure that you've done everything correctly. They're not there to hold your hand. They're just making sure that the seller has done what they're supposed to do per contract. You've done what you're supposed to do per contract, and they close the deal. So, but very important to have. Who's going to advise you on getting title insurance? Who's going to advise you on getting the Alta policy for the lender? The lender will probably demand that you get that. So,
yeah, what typically happens is they both sides rely on the lender to do stuff, and we can't do that. We're not licensed to do that.
No.
And so what I would say is
some lenders are.
Yeah. Well, I'm licensed. I could, but I don't, because why? I'm taking on more liability and not making more money.
Well, in some cases, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
If you're not reading all the updates on what you're supposed to do, California is a very litigious state. So you got to be careful. Right. And it can't happen.
Yeah. So when I bought the house I am in on Brady, it was for sale by owner, and I had my agent negotiate for us, and they paid them. No problem. So it just depends on who and what and reasons they're doing it. Most for sale by owners right now just thinks it's so easy because the houses just sold so easy, so they put it on the market.
Right.
The problem with the seller doing it is usually they leave a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.